Hello and welcome to the United Stand. How are you all doing? If you're watching live, it's Saturday Night Live, which means we will be taking your questions in a moment in an interactive Q&A with the live comments, which we love. But let's start off with the latest Manchester United transfer news, and it is official. It's not your fake news or anything like that, which people seem to be getting very tired of. Me too. Inter Milan boss Spalletti has really, I don't know what I was going to say, rumoured. I don't want to say rumoured. He has officially said that Manchester United have not made any contact for Ivan Perisic in the last few weeks, and that Perisic will be staying at Inter Milan. Typical on the day that those doubters about Perisic have probably thought he'd be very welcome at Manchester United. An assist and a goal, and a well-taken goal it was, in a pre-season friendly against Chelsea. And he had a good assist a couple of days ago as well. So I think those doubters who, I'm not going to be harsh on them. I don't think they've ever watched Perisic, to be honest. I have seen him play, and some people have seen him play. Some people may have seen him in the Euros, and he was very, very good. He's not Gareth Bale. He's not Neymar or anything like that. He's a consistent, hard-working, skillful winger, and Manchester United need that. And it's just typical that at a time when we probably would like him, and he is what we want, we've not been in for him. I don't know. You know what? I would welcome Perisic, and I've always liked the idea of getting him because I like Martial, I like Rashford, and a total world star winger would probably mean they're on the bench, but someone like Perisic who can share the load would be very, very welcome. The stupid thing is Manchester United have been after Perisic for about 6 weeks, certainly since the middle of June. I remember us being after him, and the rumour is that we wouldn't pay 45 million, we were only willing to go up to 40. We've played hardball, and we probably spend 45 or 50 on him anyway, which means we've wasted 6 weeks. But we'll see. I don't know whether United are not in for him anymore because of that, because it's embarrassing to have wasted 6 weeks on a player that we're going to pay what they wanted anyway. So maybe we're not, but who would the alternative be? My theory is that I don't mind people who don't want Perisic, but who are we getting if we're not having Perisic? Because Perisic ticks the box of skillful, good finisher, very creative, fast, hard-working, and he's over 6 foot, and he's very experienced. So you can probably name me a few quicker, more skillful wingers, but whether they've got the work rate, whether they've got the physicality, whether they've got the height, Perisic is almost everything you want in that wide position. So it is disappointing. I wouldn't say it's dead yet, but it's not helped when the Inter Milan boss comes out and says United haven't made any contacts in the last few weeks. So what are we doing? I would read from that we are not in, we're not even working on a deal. We've just left it. So it is weird. FIFA Quadri says, how do you donate? It's not, well, it's if you can see at the bottom of the live comments, if you can see the $sign, that's how you do it. But make sure you leave a comment so we can read it out. Ryan McSwiggan says, things are starting to look up for United when Fellaini leaves. I've got a different theory on this, Ryan. I actually think this is actually just another kick up the backside, another thorn in the side, another nail in the coffin of this transfer window, really. I don't believe Fellaini's going to go. Not at this late stage in the transfer window. And when I say late stage, for Manchester United to have to relay Old Trafford now, it's too late. They're not going to want to do that. And Marouane Fellaini, we know he's a tree, and he's well rooted in the centre circle of Old Trafford. To pull him out would mean a whole relay of the pitch. It's not going to happen. He's well and truly rooted in Manchester United's midfield. He's not going anywhere. And I just think it's just another kick in the nuts, really, in relation to this transfer window. We all I don't know why I did it. And I think, honestly, you lot did it as well. Why I fell into that Ronaldo trap again, I did. That was a few days wasted. Griezmann at the start of the window, that was a wasted dream. Fabinho's been in there, thanks to Di Marzio saying we put a bid in. That was a wasted dream. Nainggolan was a wasted dream. And now, to add insult to injury, to kickers when we're down, they go and run a story that Fellaini's going to leave any day now. And he won't. And it's just another bad thing that's happened to us this window. And Fellaini's not going to go. I would refuse. I so want him to leave Manchester United that I wouldn't believe it until he's actually holding up a shirt for whoever it is. Because I'd just be like, oh, he's going to fail a medical, whatever like that. He ain't even going to have a medical anywhere. In fact, the only thing he's going to be signing is a new contract, because he's here for another year and then his contract runs out. I guarantee he'll get a new contract. So I've got no confidence in this news that Fellaini will go at all. Mourinho's obsessed by him. Fellaini thinks he's doing a great job. The only people who really don't are the fans. I just don't think he'll go. Shubik's made a contribution. Thank you, Shubik. He says, Mark, if we're not in for Perisic, maybe we will get a marquee winger in. Hope the Fellaini rumours are true. Thoughts? Well, I've just said what I think about the Fellaini thing. I think if we weren't going to get Perisic, then the only hope we could have is that we are going to go and get a marquee signing. In which case, I'm not going to sit here and say I prefer Perisic. If we get Gareth Bale, which I don't think is going to happen, by the way, but if we did, I'd say I think Perisic would have been a really good signing, but this is Gareth Bale. Same with Ousmane Dembele, which I know we're not linked to. Dendoncker, Daz is arguing with somebody about Dendoncker, saying he's not good enough. I'd have to side with Dazza on this. I haven't really done a video on Dendoncker. He's been mentioned, the Anderlecht midfielder. He actually scored against us, but I'm not doing a video on him. I'm not going to profile him because I don't think it's going to happen. And I think it's like, I think Matic is a risk, but I would take Matic over Dendoncker because Dendoncker is just a massive risk to take somebody from the Belgian league and chuck them into a Manchester United side that you want to challenge for the title. No. And also, why go and sign a young risk like that? Just play Fosu Mensah. I read a fantastic tweet today. I forget who did it, but we did retweet it off the main account, which is where I'd read it. And it was like, if Pereira and Fosu Mensah were at other clubs, but we knew all about them, and then United signed them both this summer, we would be going mad, absolutely so excited. We've already got those players, and this is the frustration. I've got total confidence in both those lads, and I think they are ready, and they are at our club. They're not potential anymore. I think they're ready, and they need to play. So signing someone like Dendoncker when we've got players like that, if we're going to sign a midfielder, I want them to be able to come into the team. I want to be able to look at their pedigree and go, yes, they could do a job. Fabinho, Nainggolan, Matuidi. Yeah, that sort of player I'd be very happy about. Even an Eric Dyer. I mean, Eric Dyer, is he still there? I don't know. Mark, do you think Bale is #1 priority because how big? Oh, I don't know what that is. I don't think Bale is our #1 priority at all. I think Bale's agent, as I said yesterday, saying it's ridiculous to link him to Manchester United. Again, like the Inter Milan boss today, saying Perisic to United is not going to happen. They're not in for him. Then this isn't like the Daily Mail or the Telegraph or anything like that, where you can take it with a pinch of salt or you can believe it if you want. This is real people from these clubs or connected to these players giving public words from their mouth. It's not like it's not like sometimes you're reading a paper. Oh, Bale's agent has apparently said it's ridiculous. He has directly been quoted saying that. So there we go. Suhash says Mark will get Bale and Verratti, and you'll have to dab. No, I dabbed for Pogba. We won't be well. Look, I have to be positive in the sense that I am very positive about Manchester United. I mean, hopefully I've got it for you here. Yeah, I have. So I'll flash this up. I've already done it on the preview. But forget the fact that I've put Rashford there twice. He hasn't got a twin that we've just found. Rashford up front should be Lukaku. I made a mistake on that earlier. But when you look at that team as a team, and left-back's weak, we know left-back's weak, and hopefully Luke Shaw will come through. But when you look at that as an 11, and that's without signing anybody, that is a strong team. It is a strong team. Now, Mata can be Mkhitaryan, it can be Pereira, which shows depth. Pogba and Herrera, brilliant. Bay and Lindelof. Bay is fantastic. Lindelof hopefully will be. Valencia's good. Rashford can play on the right. Martial can play on the left. Lukaku up front. Left back's weak. But as an 11, that 11 is very, very good. It's a very good 11. And you've got Mkhitaryan and Pereira who can come in, who are very, very good players. But I think beyond that, unless he's going to use Fosu Mensah in the midfield, we are quite weak. I think we are one centre defensive midfielder away from being title contenders. I am positive about Manchester United, and I'm sure Jose Mourinho can see what we see. He's made it abundantly clear over the last 2 weeks that he hasn't got the players that he wants. He's hoping for one. Hopefully, well, he wants one. Hopefully, he'll get the 2 more that he wants. I would guarantee that one is a centre defensive midfielder, and if we get it, I think we've all got to sit back and say this has not been the transfer window we wanted it to be. But our manager has basically said that anyway. one centre defensive midfielder comes in. It's not ideal in relation to what we didn't get, but I can still see the potential with that team. I don't know whether we can win League Cup, FA Cups and be competitive in the Champions League. The Premier League's got to be the priority. And with that set of players, I think we can do quite well. I am positive about Manchester United. I think my negativity comes across at that lack of getting a centre defensive midfielder in and who it might be that we get. I have my reservations about Matic. I have massive reservations about how much he uses Fellaini and Lingard. They are the negative things that concern me. But if if tomorrow morning Fellaini did get sold to Galatasaray, Lingard was kept on the bench, and we signed, I don't know, we signed Fabinho or even Eric Dyer, even though I don't want him, I still think he's better than Matic. I would be positive about this season. Yeah, I'd still say it's not the transfer window we hoped, but I'd still be very positive about it. So, I don't think we're too far off. Mark, I know we won't get Willian, but he'd be a good alternative for the winger position as he's hard-working, Premier League proven, and he's a quality player. That's from Shaka Phillips. Yeah, if we were going to get any player from Chelsea, I would like Willian. I still would have to be consistent and say I don't like the fact that we are buying cast-offs from Chelsea. But on the point of transfer news, Chelsea potentially, as champions who finished 20 points ahead of us, Chelsea could well sign, well, they have signed Morata, they have signed Bakayoko, they have signed Rudiger, they're in for Sandro at left back from Juventus, and they're potentially getting Renato Sanchez on loan. So Morata, Bakayoko, Rudiger, Sandro, Renato Sanchez, 5 signings. Well, that's more than we're going to make anyway, and I would argue that apart from maybe the Morata Lukaku thing will rumble on all season and we'll see who comes out on top. But that 5 signings is really good. On top of that, get 50 million for Matic and sell him to United makes that even better. And they finished 20 points ahead of us. So Mourinho's going to have to work miracles. He can do it, but when the champions who finished 20 points ahead of you are doing better business than you are, then that has to be a factor. The big thing is Chelsea didn't have European football last year. And the big thing is Lukaku could outscore Morata, and that's what wins you tournaments. So, we've got a chance. Shubik made a contribution again. He says, just 2 weeks to go and we've not put in a bid for anyone. Maybe Mourinho's been informed that he has to make do with what he's got. If he's been told that, it's a disgrace. I flashed that team up for you there. I think we've got a good 11 to 13 players that could win us the title. But you don't win a title with 13 players. He hasn't got the depth. If Herrera gets injured, if Pogba gets injured, if Bailly gets injured, just one of those could be very, very impactful when the games are coming thick and fast. So he needs players. And if he doesn't get any in the next couple of weeks, then he's not being backed. I actually was speaking to Drawty yesterday and I said, I think we're going to sign somebody. Nobody's told me it, but I think we're going to sign somebody in the next, well, I thought this weekend, but clearly we're not because nothing's happened today and we're off to Norway tomorrow to play the game. But I do feel that we will sign somebody in the next 7 days, and I can't help think it's just going to be Matic, and I think that will be it, and then we might get Perisic once the season started. But Matic on his own, I don't think it's going to... It's just not exciting, is it? He might turn out to be very good, but it won't be exciting. But as I said this morning, I don't think I was live this morning, so I don't know who I was talking to. The rumour is that United at the moment are and have been for the last few days exclusively working on Matic to United, bartering a deal. Because Chelsea want 50 million and United only want to pay 40 million. I mean, it makes you want to cry that's basically what United are focused on at the moment. Bartering for a player that Chelsea don't want and overpaying at the same time. But I don't know. We just have to trust and see what happens. Liam Quinnan says, you've said that Matic is a risk, but Fabinho isn't. I haven't said that Fabinho isn't a risk. Gareth Bale's a risk. Lukaku's a risk. Neymar's a risk. Every transfer's a risk. I would defy anybody to say that a signing's going to succeed. Every player's a risk. You never know. I remember when we signed Varane, Sebastian Varane, and Varane, sorry, and we already had Keane and Scholes at the height of their, we already had Keane, Scholes, Beckham, and Giggs at the height of their careers, right in their prime. We signed Sebastian Veron, and it was like, we are going to kill this league. We are absolutely going to destroy everybody. And it didn't happen. It just didn't work. We spent a lot of money on him. He was one of the best midfielders in the world, and it just didn't happen. So any signing can fail. What I would say is that I'd take Fabinho every day of the week over Matic. And yeah, he's a risk, but the style of his football is far better than what I want from Matic. So I have never said that Fabinho's a definite gonna work. Anybody could not work. Community Devils makes a good point. Ross Barkley, Renato Sanchez, Gylfi Sigurdsson, Neymar, Alexis Sanchez, all available, and it doesn't look like we're in for any of them. I think you could argue that any one of them would be welcome, even if it was just to boost the numbers. And JX Cummings 9 says, Mark, I don't think we'll sell players this season for 2 reasons. He loves the players we want to be sold, i.e. Fellaini and Jones, and we don't have the squad depth to do so. Do you agree? I do. I said that on the Fellaini video this morning. I don't think we have the numbers for him to want to do it. So I don't know. I'm very angry, if I'm totally honest. I'm very angry with the person who put the Fellaini news out there, because it just gets everybody excited. You know, we'd all drive him wherever he wants to go for free, get his plane and everything. But I think, as I said, it does feel like a bit of a kick in the teeth in relation to the way this transfer window's gone, because, you know, we're all a little bit curious and concerned as to why we've not signed players, and now we've got to go through this fake Fellaini news that he's going to leave. I'll love it if he goes now and I've got it wrong, but there you go. Oh, here we go. Ilfastrat. You haven't seen how good Dendoncker is. I haven't. No, I'm not gonna lie and say that I've spent my life watching Anderlecht play. I watched them play against United. I didn't really think he stood out as very good. I thought he was okay. I thought Tielemans was okay, but Tielemans to United was a big gamble as well. If he's gone to Monaco, if he does well there, then the next step is a big club, isn't it? But I don't care how good Dendoncker is. It's not about how good he is. And he wasn't fantastic when he played against us. It's the fact that he plays in a pub league, and we want to, and fans are going, let's get him in, and let's chuck him into our midfield, and that's just a huge risk. I would rather have Matic than him, and I know that might not be very popular, but at least I know that Matic can play in the Premier League. Dendoncker, you know, the pace is just so much different. The tenacity, the speed of play. I don't think Mourinho, if he did sign him, would use him, but well, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it'll even become a debate point. As Deirdre Doyle says, Dendoncker or Verratti. Well, Verratti is potentially available as well. You know, Rayola's Woodward's best mate. Okay, come on, keep firing in the questions. We all want Fabinho over Matic, but if Mourinho wants him, let's just get him quick, says Shushan Belly. Yeah, I'd rather get it over with. It's not the signing that... If we were going to sign Matic, I'd rather we'd signed him like an hour before Lindelof, so that we only had an hour to sort of dwell on it, and then we could forget it with a new signing. It's certainly not the signing we should be waiting weeks and weeks for, and then our last signing. It's like... It's symbolic of the transfer window, if it happens. Daniel Steen says there's lots of players in the Chinese Super League and all the clubs are in debt. Maybe we could sign someone from there. That's their fault. If that's their mercenary fault for going there in the first place. I wouldn't want anyone from the Chinese League, to be honest. Mark, imagine what could have been, says Jake Bullman. In general, or just in relation to the transfer window? I think he's talking about the transfer window. Do you like Ed Woodward, says Hezo. Very, very quickly, because I've said this a few times. I haven't got a problem with Ed Woodward. I think he gets a lot of bad press. David Moyes is a manager. If you've ever read anything about him, when it comes to transfers, he used to have a little room at Goodison Park, and he takes ages over transfers. He put pictures up and all sorts. We could have got Thiago Alcantara from Barcelona. Thiago even said it himself, but United took too long, and that was because Moyes was humming and ahhing. He went to Bayern Munich. I think that was the summer we tried to get Fabregas, which was so obvious that we wouldn't get him, and then last minute we signed Fellaini. I put a lot of that on Moyes. the next 2 years under Van Gaal, I think Woodward did well. He got him a lot of players. I just think they were the wrong players. And then last season, it was probably one of the best summers we've ever had. So this summer's not been great. You know, Woodward may well be culpable this summer, but I don't think you can sort of stack it all together. I think there's always been mitigating circumstances. And what if this is from the board? What if this is from the very top? You know, Woodward, he's not in control of what the owners say. And if they say you're only having 150 million or 200 million to spend, then that makes it very difficult when clubs want 50 million for a player that you've only got 35 for. You know, maybe we've only got 70 million left. Maybe we were only given about 150 million. I don't know whether anyone's ever thought of that, but I certainly have. Maybe that's the problem with United. Maybe the transfer budget, we've only got 70 million pounds left, and Mourinho wants 2 players. You don't know. Would we take Matuidi? Says even Nolan. I would take Matuidi for 100%. I'd take Matuidi over Matic. Again, it's a bit of a risk, but his style of football, I prefer it to Matic. It's more dynamic. Also a client of Mini Raiola. Also only got a year left on his contract. I think Manchester United, if we are penny pinching, we should be focusing on players that have only got a year left on their contract, of which Ross Barkley's one, of which Matuidi is one, of which Alexis Sanchez is one. You know, we should be able to. They're the sort of players you can play hardball for, because if Ross Barkley wants to come to United, then Everton can either say we're not going to take a fair price or lose him for nothing in January. So, and then from United's point of view, well, doesn't look like we're signing anybody anyway, so we have to wait for January for that player and get them for free. It's a good bit of business. We've been waiting for weeks and weeks to sign someone, which has barely happened. This is Manchester United are being outspent by all top teams. Something isn't right, and Manchester United need to sort it, says JX Cummings 9. Morata's going to flop, says Pogboom. You know what? What I would say about that is it is only pre-season, and just because Morata's not doing particularly well for Chelsea, he is a bit behind in relation to fitness. If you judge pre-season on what people are going to do next season, then you're going to come up short. Manchester United have not played particularly well in pre-season. Salah at Liverpool is apparently the next Messi, even though he was awful when he was at Chelsea. You know, Perisic has been as good as Salah for Inter. So I don't judge anything until the Premier League season starts. And to be honest, I don't think you can really judge anything until after the first international break, because I think the first 3 weeks of the season are very haphazard. Remember last year, City looked like they were going to win every single game. We did win at every single game the first 3, and look where we ended up finishing 6th. So, you know, you want to have a good start, you want to play good football, but the first 3 games of the season can be very, very deceptive. Certain teams are up for it. We've got a favourable first few games of the season. I think we need to take maximum points and then build on from there. Prediction for the game tomorrow, says Ewan Gordon. I think I went 2-0. Apparently Vålerenga are their season's already started, so their fitness levels will be good, which is good. I wouldn't have wanted to be playing a Norwegian side in the off season. They're a mid-table Norwegian side, so you know they're not a massive test, but physically and fitness-wise they should be. We should be going over there and beating them 4 or 5-0, but I don't really see United doing that in the last 6 months. So I'd like to see us go and do that. But at the moment, we just need to sort out the gap between the attackers and the midfield. If we can get Herrera playing tomorrow and Pogba and Mkhitaryan as a midfield 3 or Mata, and don't play Fellaini or Carrick and you know have a dynamic midfield, then maybe we can do it. Maybe we can. I mean, like thrash them. I think we'll win. I would take Fabregas over Matic, says James Henry Sutcliffe. I don't really like Fabregas, to be honest, as a person, but I would take him over him. What time's the kickoff tomorrow? You know what? I'm not 100% sure. I think it's a 6 PM kickoff, which is very interesting because we always do the Sunday night live show, the Sunday night show at 8:30, which I don't know what we'll do. Maybe the match reaction show will become the Sunday night show. We'll sort that out tomorrow. But we'll be live from, I think, about 5 o'clock with the team news and then right the way through to full time. So join us for the watch along for that. Good point from Paul Petterson. Oxlade-Chamberlain, another player in his last year. I mean, Oxlade-Chamberlain, would he be good at United? Is he better than Lingard? He's certainly he's stronger. I'd say he's probably better than Lingard, isn't he? It is a 6 PM kickoff. Thanks for everybody's comments on that. Andy C says that Mourinho's faith in Fellaini will get him sacked. I think I did say that at some point last year, that Mourinho needs to be very, very careful, because, you know, United fans have seen Fellaini for 4 years. He's seen him for just a year now. And whilst Mourinho knows a hell of a lot more about football than us lot, we do know a lot about Fellaini in a Manchester United shirt, because we've been enduring it for 4 years. Sorry, I just went quiet there because I was just checking on something. There's nothing to report, don't worry. Bit low on numbers tonight. I don't know why. I suppose it's Saturday night and people are fed up. You can share the link. It's below the video there. Please do click the share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook. That'd be fantastic. It'd be nice to get to 3,000. I don't know. I think people are getting a bit fed up in relation to Manchester United transfer news at the moment. Mahrez is a good shout, says Even Nolan. If you've been watching the United stand for a while, you know that Mahrez has been mentioned a couple of times before, even when he was at Leicester and they won the title, and I said no, I don't really want him. I don't really see him as a hard-working player, and he reminds me of a bit of a one-season wonder. I don't think he was that good last year. I wouldn't want him at United. He's the sort of player I'd like to see him go to Arsenal, and I think he'd flop. I don't rate Mahrez that highly. I know he was very good the season they won the title, but so was James Vardy, same was Danny Drinkwater. Where were they last year? So not for me. Not for me. Dangel Kalamic has made a contribution. Thank you for that. And McCarthy from Everton says AJL837. You'll probably get a lot of stick for that comment, but a year or two ago I actually did like McCarthy. He reminded me of a sort of, tackling, no-nonsense midfielder. I don't know what happened to him last year. I don't know whether he was injured or he just didn't get selected that much, but he didn't have as good a season. Fraser Peterson says transfer news this summer has been total rubbish, a complete waste of effort. I think, yeah. I think I would agree with that, yeah. Pogboom says the United stand's missing like 2,000 people. You lot usually average around 4,000 viewers. Yeah, we do, but I know as well as, well, you lot should know as well, that when it's the international break, a lot of people go missing, and I just think that previous comment we were talking about there, United fans are getting a bit frustrated, and maybe they're just switching off and taking a break. I don't know. It's a free world. We certainly won't do that. We'll always be here for you to talk about United. But, I don't have a problem with that. I think people are getting a bit fed up, and we're sort of tentatively wait. I mean, I am very excited the fact that in 2 weeks' time the Premier League season will start. I mean, I can't believe how quick it's come around, but there's still a lot of question marks around United. But having said that, we always moan about Manchester United and lack of transfer news, and you shouldn't judge yourself by anybody else, but the same thing happened last year. Man City have done a bit of business, Spurs have done none, Chelsea have done a little bit, Arsenal have done a little bit, Liverpool have done a little bit, but nobody's really, Everton did a lot, but nobody's really gone mad yet. And I always feel that transfers should be done before the season starts, because otherwise, I remember that season with Van Gaal when we bought a lot of people late on in August, and we'd already played games and dropped points, and it's like, if we'd done these in July, these players could have been implemented, ready. You can lose 9 points before the transfer window shuts if you wait and you try and do deals late, which I'm sure a lot of people will do. I think maybe this year more than ever, there will be more transfers done in late August, and teams will just have to crack on with what they've got, simply because it's an inflated market. And it's like, well, Inter Milan, I don't think in the case of Perisic it matters because they want to keep him anyway, but in the case of maybe Arsenal with Alexis Sanchez, I could see Alexis Sanchez starting the season for Arsenal, maybe doing quite well, but in the last week moving to maybe Man City and for a decent price, because Arsenal will know he's not going to sign a new contract if they wait if they go into this season with him, in January, he's going to go for free because he can talk to anybody he wants. Well, he won't go till the end of the season, but he can talk to anyone he wants. So teams that are holding out for decent deals, some of them will have to just settle at the end of August. And I think that will be quite impactful for United this season. Hopefully, maybe we will sign a people a bit late. Christopher Humphrey says, do you recommend Bud Light, Mark? A lot of people don't like it. I don't mind it. I used to drink Budweiser quite a lot when I lived in Dublin, and it's beer. It's okay. Mark, thoughts on Dybala coming to United? I think he'd go to Barcelona. I think Mark. Yeah, I've been asked that quite a lot. I think in relation to Dybala and in relation to Barcelona, I reckon if Barcelona signed Coutinho from if Neymar goes, then that's going to be massive. It's a massive deal. I think it's mercenary from PSG, from Neymar. And if he goes, then obviously Barcelona need to replace Neymar, and they've also got a lot of money. I think it could just lead to silly money being spent, but Barcelona will probably go for Coutinho. And maybe Dybala as well. So I think this transfer window might have a kick in it. But United aren't players in that this summer. We're not players in the biggest deal of the summer. We were last year with Pogba. We've decided not to this year so far. And then you've got Mbappe, and if he actually goes to Real Madrid, will they look to offload players as well? So there are aspects to this transfer window that could still be very interesting. But personally, I'm getting to the point now where I just want the season to start, and what will be with transfers will be. And that may sound a little bit negative, but I agree with a lot of what you've said. We have been through the mill this summer season. It's been very difficult at times to sort of grasp what's going on. Joe Stanley's made a contribution. In my opinion, the most important factor of United having a successful season is which formation we play. Time to move on from the 4-3-3. Good comment, Joe, and thanks for the contribution. I agree with you. I spoke about this on the preview show, which I did a few hours ago. I think tomorrow's game and the game against Sampdoria are very important in the sense that you can't just, it's not all about fitness now. We are working towards the start of the season. It's 2 weeks away. He needs to start using the players he wants to use, and he certainly needs to start implementing the team and the formation and the style of play tomorrow. I think he's got to play it tomorrow. So we'll see what happens with regards his team selections, because will it be that 4-3-3? Will he go 3-5-2? I doubt it. Will he go with that formation against Man City where it was Mkhitaryan off the striker with Pogba and Herrera? I liked that. Nicholas Anderson's joined late. He says, what's the Inter boss said? So the Inter Milan boss this afternoon said, Spalletti, I think it's Spalletti or Spalletti, he said that Manchester United have not made an offer for Perisic in weeks, and as far as they're concerned, he won't be leaving. So all those people, as I said, who didn't want Perisic or were unsure and have probably seen what he's done today and thought, well, we could do with that at United. How ironic that we're not going to probably get him now. I still hope we do get him. I like him. I think he's a good player, and I think it's not always about superstars. We can cling on to the hope that maybe we're going to get a marquee signing instead, but we'll go. Damien Hosty is on holiday in Las Vegas watching United stand. Keep up the good work. Have a good holiday, Damien. Tyrone Williams says the 4-3-3 is a fantastic formation. It's based on Cruyff's total football system, which revolutionised the game. I don't think we're playing it that way, Tyrone, to be honest, though. The ball just gets... It's the wrong personnel. We don't move the ball quick enough in that 4-3-3. That's the problem. We aren't going to win the league, says Sec Sniper. It's tomorrow night for the game. It's a 6 PM kickoff. We'll be live from 5 o'clock with the watch-along. How do we get rid of the Glazers, says Samuel Kamala. I think getting rid of the Glazers is harder than getting rid of Fellaini, and we won't be getting rid of Fellaini. Mark, rank them according to who would make you most happy or thankful if Fellaini leaves. Mourinho, Woodward, Galatasaray coach, Fellaini's agents. I don't rank them according to who would make you most happy. I don't know what you're on about there, Avinash. You might want to reword it. Jordan Anderson, if you can sign anyone for this current team, who would you get? Who would I get? If I could sign anybody for this team, who would I get? It would still be Ronaldo. Yeah, it would still be Ronaldo. But you've got to go, you know, if you can sign anybody you want, you've got to go and get the best, haven't you? However, who would I sign if I could get anyone I could get to improve this side? Really should be a centre defensive midfielder. But so who would I get? In world football, probably, I don't know. You know what? I don't like saying this because they're in the Premier League, but I really do think that someone like a Wanyama or certainly a Nainggolan from Roma, that sort of a midfielder. I mean, I like Fabinho as well. That sort of a midfielder who's just very tenacious, can get the ball, but he's also decent on the ball to feed the players in front of them. I just look at Fosu Mensah and I really do think he can be that player. It disappoints me so much. I mean, maybe he's not quite ready yet for that, to play week in, week out as Manchester United's centre defensive midfielder. But I certainly do think in the next 2 years he is. I just don't... People can say, oh, you know, Jose agrees and he will do that himself. But I don't see why he's not even trying him out in that position. He just keeps using him as a right back. Jose Mourinho managed Michael Essien in his most successful period of Essien's career. He's had that type of... He sort of invented the Kante role. Essien was that player. Really, really tenacious, really quick into the tackle, really strong, and actually was quite good on the ball. Essien was that player. People say Makelele was, but Makelele was never super fast. He was a really good centre defensive midfielder, but Essien was like really powerful and quick. He was a bit like a Valencia sort of player, but as a midfielder. So Mourinho knows how successful those players can be, and when he looks at who came first and second in the Premier League, Chelsea and Spurs, and they both had that sort of midfield destroyer there, and Mourinho's had that sort of player himself before, I don't know why he hasn't gone for one, or he isn't moulding one in the form of Fosu Mensah. Tom R says, thanks for the contribution, Tom. He says, any concerns on Lindelof, Mark? Also, on a tangent, what's the update on your website? Okay, yeah, the website's been down. We should have that back up by early next week. And on Lindelof, Mark, I've got no concerns about Lindelof at all. I think he'll be a very, very good centre-back. I think we've played a handful of pre-season games. He's brand new to the team. He played actually he played okay in the first half against Neymar, Suarez and Messi, and it doesn't get any harder than that. I thought Smalling overshadowed him a bit, but he didn't do really anything wrong, and he's going to get better in that role, and Mourinho is fantastic with defenders. I've got no concerns about Lindelof at all. I think he's going to be absolutely fine, and what I do like about Lindelof is he's very, very good at passing the ball out from the back. I think Lindelof will be fine. Mkhitaryan says, Mark, thoughts on United playing a 3-5-2? I don't think we'll do it. I'd love to see us do it. What about Abra Hussein says, why are we not in for Neymar? Because the Glazers don't want to pay that much money. Do you like Twansibi in that holding role, Mark? I was surprised to see him play there, but thought he did well. That's from Justin. Twansibi played against Arsenal and Spurs away against good Arsenal and Spurs sides at the end of last season. On the pre-season tour, he's hardly played. In fact, McTominay's played more minutes than Twansibi did. And I don't understand it. I mean, I'd like to see Fosu Mensah being given that opportunity, but why play Twansibi in 2 massive games in the Premier League where he did fantastically well, then in the pre-season tour, don't play it? He doesn't play him. I mean, it defies belief. Again, Fellaini played 90 minutes against Real Madrid. 2 days later, he plays him again for another 45 minutes. He could have at least given Twansibi 45 minutes of that. I like Twansibi. I think he's a centre-back. But when he came on as a right-back for the last 5 minutes the other day against Barcelona reserves, he had a great run down there. I think he is potentially top class as well. We've got some fantastic young players coming through. Pereira, Fosu Mensah, Twansibi. I mean, they're all potentially good enough to be first-team players. And we shouldn't sort of be neglectful of that. I've said this before. United are massively about the youth, but since the class of '92, which was 25 years ago, we've not, in 25 years, we've not really produced anybody of any note. Darren Fletcher was okay. John O'Shea was a good squad player. Danny Welbeck was all right. But, I mean, Rashford's head and shoulders already over those in relation to potential talent. And again, Pereira, Fosu Mensah, Twansibi could all do it. So we've got 4 players there, when over the last 25 years, we've struggled to have 4 players in 25 years. So I really hope these lads get a chance, because I think they're good enough. Okay, Mata or Mkhitaryan, says Ainsey Jr. I think they're both very good players. I think Mkhitaryan's still got a question mark over him about consistency. Even against Barcelona the other night in the first half, he was very, very quiet. But he is the better player at number 10 on his game. If he's consistent, then it has to be Mkhitaryan. Mata's not as good as Mkhitaryan, but Mata's more consistent. But again, we have got depth in that position. They're both very good players. Ramble with Robbie is long overdue, says Pratic. Yeah, it is long overdue. But there's no announcement there about Robbie. It probably won't happen tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm driving up to Nottingham, my old town, which, well, I have been there since I was 18, but I haven't lived in Nottingham since I was 18. But some family's still up there, and my sister's just had a baby, so I'm going up to see them tomorrow with mine. And so there won't be a ramble tomorrow. There might be a show in the morning. We'll see what happens. Unless something big happens, I'm not just going to do a show tomorrow. Our next show will be 5 o'clock live with team news for the watch along. So there won't be a rumble with Robbie tomorrow, unfortunately, because I'm a bit busy. Tomorrow. We always had someone from the youth in a first team squad, says Sedgwick 22. We have, since the late 1930s. Smashed anybody else's record. Tommy Herald says there's a new update from A-Sport. Look, Turkish media is crap, but let us know what the update is. Fellaini is a donkey in the midfield to free Pogba up, says Fortune. I agree with Lynn. She's saying Fosu Mensah should have been given at least half an hour as a centre defence midfielder. Would you want Bale with his injury record, says Mr. Spock? Yes. For me, the talent that Bale is overrules any concerns about his injury. David Fellows, it's a boy for my sister, and my brother's also having... My brother's wife was due 2 days ago. It's a weird situation where I've got a brother and a sister, and we were due in mid-June. My sister was due a week ago, and my brother's due this week. So we're all having babies in the same time. I've had a boy, obviously. My sister's had a boy, and my brother's having a girl. So they're all going to grow up together, which is going to be nice. Pogba was our best youth player since a long time, says Anaban. Yeah, Pogba is one I never really mentioned because obviously he left. Ravel Morrison was a fantastic player, just an absolute idiot as a person. We all know somebody who was good at football but had nothing between their ears and threw it away. Mark, would you sign? I can't. That doesn't make sense. Hassan, unfortunately. Fellaini's going to leave, 5-year deal, says Brandon Stevens. Apparently Real Madrid will let Bale go for 90 million. What's your opinion, says Dazdan TFT. And Liam White, what would be your dream signing this transfer window, Mark? I'd still say Ronaldo. How long do you think Valencia's got left at his best, says Dazza7. I think he's early 30s now. Valencia's all about power and pace, so I would say he's probably got at least a year. Are you good at speaking? Norwich, you and Garden. Would you sign Christian Pulisic, says Vishnu A? I would. He might be a year off, but I would. I would love to see Renato Sanchez permanent or loan with future option, says Craig Fraser. I do like Renato Sanchez. And why aren't we in for Verratti, says R10 Games 1. Well, you know, in fairness, who is in for Verratti at the moment? It's not, you know, maybe we are. Okay, just having a quick look for you. There is a little bit of an update. It's from Turkish media again, saying that Marin Fellaini is signed for 5 years. Galatasaray. You know what? That's something I would go live with if it ever happened, but I just don't believe it. I won't believe it. I won't react to it in a confident way until the ink is signed, and I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't trust Turkish media at all. Adam, it's not breaking. That was from this afternoon about Fellaini. I'll tell you what though, if we did sell him, which I don't think we would, maybe Mourinho has finally come to his senses and started listening to not just the fans, but you know, everybody. He's just not a Manchester United player. I think even there was that famous game last season, wasn't there? I can't remember what the game was. Was it Phil Neville was commentating and they said that Fellaini was captain, and his reaction just said it. I think, you know, for the people like the Nevilles and Paul Scholes, they're always going to be respectful because they've been professional footballers themselves. But if you actually watch them when they're asked about Fellaini, it's pretty much a polite, he's rubbish and he shouldn't be in a United shirt. They'll always say, you know, he tries really hard, this, that and the other, but is he this, you know, is he the man who can do this, that and the other? And they're very tactful about it. But maybe Mourinho sort of listened to that and realised it's a big step down for him though. It is a big step down for Mourinho. Let's not forget, he was the one who said in August, I love Fellaini, I'll make the fans love Fellaini. And I think that was a bit naive. I think he didn't understand the United fans and the way we work. That you can't, a manager can't just come out and say, I'm going to make you love a player that we've all, well, the vast majority of us have made our mind up about. I made my mind up about Fellaini before we even signed him, but about a year in, everyone had made their mind up. And he can come up with the odd moment like he did in that semi-final, although I always say that cross by Rashford was made that goal, and Fellaini nearly missed it. The keeper got a hand to it, but he has scored important goals. But those important goals seem to get, you know, it's almost like people get blinded by a goal and ignore the previous, you know, many instances of being awful. Eugene Fitzgibbon says Fellaini's leaving and it'll be announced on Monday. No more of Mark's fake wig. I'm drinking beer in a glass. Alex, if we can't even get Perisic, what hope do we have? Says Sindat. Mark, who are the top 10 plus players in the world at the moment, in your opinion? Also, when is your next film review? I haven't done a film review for ages, Shaka. Maybe when the season starts, I'll have more time to go back and do my channel. It's just impossible in the summer. It's so fast-paced. There's so much going on. Maybe there is some truth in him going and we have a deal in place for a replacement, says Joe Boy 172. I'll tell you what I would say, though. I'll categorically, happily say this now, and, you know, when Matic signs and I moan about him, you can come back to this. If buying Matic means we sell Fellaini, sign him up. Sign him up. And I mean that. I have concerns about Matic. I don't want Matic. But if Matic signs, I'll back him, regardless of whether Fellaini stays. But if signing Matic means Fellaini goes, pay 50 million. I don't care. Do it. Because the one thing Matic can do is he can pass the ball longer than 5 yards. He is slightly quicker. He is more skillful, and he's more technical. He's a technically better footballer. So if it's Matic for Fellaini, I don't care what the fee is. Just do it. I still just don't think. There is no reason to think it's going to happen. You know, he played him for 90 minutes against Real Madrid. He played him for 45 against Barcelona. He's always in the team. I mean, he brought him on against Everton at Christmas. He cost us the win with a stupid, idiotic Fellaini typical clumsiness, and then he picked him the next game. He's obsessed with him. I cannot imagine how or why he would sell him. And also, taking away my frustration at the sort of player Fellaini is, we're really short in the midfield. You can almost make an argument that we shouldn't sell him because we're so short. I'd still sell him. If we get Matic, we still need Sanchez, Perisic and a striker, says Razic Ale. May as well dream big. I like Fellaini in this squad, just not as a starting centre defensive midfielder, says SJ Hewitt 22. To be honest, I think I'm always just trying to find that centre line when I say, yeah, Fellaini's alright as a squad player. I'd keep him on the bench, last 10 minutes, hit the long ball. To be honest, I don't even want him as that. I don't want him in the squad. I don't like the way. I don't like his style of football. It's not for me. But I don't think he'll go anyway. But I still don't want him in the squad. I don't even want him sweeping the dressing room. I don't want him in Manchester. I'd like him to go, but he will be here. How many goals are we expecting from Marcus and Martial this year? Good question from Pratik. Very good question, because I think some people would look at that and go, how's Mark supposed to answer that? But it's a good question in the sense that Lukaku, I think, has got to get 30 goals. He's got to mirror what Zlatan did, and I think he can do that, but he's got to do that. 1, because he's done it in the Premier League for lesser clubs. 2, because of his price tag. 3, because he is Zlatan's replacement. In relation to Rashford and Martial, it depends on how many games they play, and it depends what position they play. If Martial plays 30 games this season as a left winger, I think if he can get 10 goals, that would be very good. 1 in 3 games for a winger would be very good. Same for Rashford. I think if Rashford and Martial get into double figures, that would be very helpful for us. So that's what I would say about that. Are you going to bring up your child to support Manchester United? Says Spellaka66. Does a bear shit in the woods? Of course he will be. He will be. And my oldest daughter wants to make him like horses because she likes horses. Never going to happen. Never going to happen. Who's your favourite to sign for Manchester United? Says Kenny Mansell. I would say Matic at the moment. How long will it take for Bailey-Lindelof relationship to develop? Says Iceman USA. I don't think it would take particularly long because, you know, it might take a while for Lindelof to get to his best, but I still think he'll be good enough to be able to form a partnership. Dab if Fellaini leaves. I'll do better than that. I said this afternoon, if Fellaini leaves, naked dancing around the streets, that's what's happening. I don't think it'll happen. Where did you get the transfer news for Fellaini? Says Daniel Stein. Well, I haven't looked in the last hour, but it was in the Turkish press this afternoon, and it was a quote from the Galatasaray director. But I'm sure this has been done before. I'm sure it was said around February, January time. So I wouldn't believe anything. Fellaini's Jose's sweetheart, says Pericles. And how much would we get for Matic for, says Joseph Ives? I think it would be between 40 and 50 million, which is way overpriced. Good question here from Joe Buckley. He says Martial is very inconsistent. Would you trust him with 30 games? I think he's I think it's a good question because you've almost answered it yourself. Martial's very inconsistent because he doesn't play consistently. I think if Martial was given a run of 10 games, like, I mean, Van Gaal did it with him and he was very consistent. Mourinho's never done it with him. It's like he'll play a good game, then he'll have an average half an hour and he's off. Whereas Lingard just gets to play every week. I think if Martial was given the opportunity to play as a left winger for 10 games in a row, no matter what, then Martial would get very consistent and he would be one of the best players in the league, which I think he is. Mark, do the Twitter questions. Good point, Anaban. I've totally forgotten about that. I apologise. Thanks for that. Okay, so let's see what some people on Twitter said. If we sell Fellaini, surely 2 midfielders will come in addition to Perisic. Would you consider Matic and Verratti/Sanchez as good signings? That's from Herman. I would. Would you take Keita as a CDM? Says Sandeep. I refuse to talk about Keita because I've always thought he's going to Liverpool. So I've always sort of said I don't really think he's that good. But I've never gone deeper than that because what if United sign him? So I'm not going to say anything about Keita. Lukaku was all heart to play for United and we can see it in his commitment. Morata was all about leaving Madrid irrespective of destination. That was from Abanaf, a bit of a statement there. Do you think we'll see a more attacking United team next season, says Sandeep? I hope so. Who would you blame for the state of this transfer window? The Glazers, and that's from Shadow. Do you think we'll regret selling Fellaini if he goes? And that's from Magical Marwan. I do not. And aside from Perisic and Matic, who do you think are 2 solid, realistic transfer targets for the winger and the CDM roles? And that's from John Bridges. And I think that's a very, very good question. So if we couldn't have Matic and Perisic, who are 2 realistic signings for those positions? It is difficult. I still think that Fabinho's realistic if we want him as the CDM. As the wide player, it is difficult. I mean, Perisic ticks so many boxes, which is why I think Mourinho had him as his first choice. You could go for Felipe Anderson from Lazio. You could go for PSG, Mora, he doesn't play, but he turned us down, didn't he? And I wouldn't want him. Draxler, maybe. I just think Perisic ticks all the boxes of what we need at United. So, but there are other options. But I always say that to everybody. You don't want Perisic. Who do you want? And apart from marquee signings such as Dembele or a Bale or someone like that, which I don't think are realistic, Perisic is a good call. Demary Gray for a wide man, says TC Singh. He's a good player, but I don't know. He's not somebody I've ever considered. You may as well say Nathan Redmond from Southampton. I mean, what's wrong with him? Julian Brandt says Artira Deb. Yeah, I do like him, but again, he's another player that was sort of linked to Liverpool. He's a good player, young lad, Germany, very, very good. He's also tall. Not dissimilar to Perisic, but just very young. Mark, thoughts on a new left back, says JP Frisch. I'm surprised we haven't signed a left back. I didn't realise Luke Shaw was going to be out for so long until September. I thought we'd be starting the season with Shaw. It concerns me that we're starting it with Darmian and Blind. We should have gone and got a left back. I think Mendy's a great signing for City. I think we're all going to see that he's basically Valencia as a left back. But we're happy to go with Darmian and Blind. And Darmian wants to go back to Serie A as well. So again, why didn't we just let him go and get a left back in? And then if Shaw gets back... I mean, what if Luke Shaw comes back in September and gets injured again? I love Luke Shaw. He's the left back I want. But what if he does come back and get injured again? We're just going to have to do with Blind and Darmian. We're so imbalanced in the back four with them as left backs because they're slow. And Blind was shocking on tour. That doesn't mean a hell of a lot, but he was. Shoeback, Mark, would you start in the Champions League, Mkhitaryan or Mata? It's a long way off, mate. It's a long way off. They're both good players. If Mkhitaryan's playing well, you play Mkhitaryan. Ed says, smash the like button. I haven't asked for that. Please do drop a like on the video if you enjoy the Saturday Night Live show. It is very interactive, a little bit different, interacting with the live comments. I just want to say thanks to all you lot. The viewing numbers are down. I'm not worried about that because if you look at anything, whether it's websites, other YouTube channels on relating to all football club, well, United especially, Twitter interaction, it's all down with United at the moment. I think that is something if Manchester United Football Club care about that sort of stuff, they should do, because United fans in a transfer window 2 weeks away from the season should be excited, and we're not. We're all curious, we're all a bit fed up of all the news, and we need a bit of excitement. We all need a bit of excitement in our life, and so I think United fans at the moment are a bit But I want to say thanks to everybody who's watched tonight live, and thanks for everybody else who's going to watch it not live, because that shows you that you really are hardcore United fans who, don't just turn away when things aren't going your way. You want to talk about the club and interact. So thanks everybody for that. I think you're all fantastic. Two things. A few people have been asking me today about the United Stand Fantasy Football League, which is through the Telegraph. The link is in the video description. You can sign up for that. Got loads of prizes sorted out for that during the season. Goal of the month, top team of the month, team of the season, all sorts of things, United tops and everything. So sign yourself up for that through the Telegraph. The link's in the video description. Whoever wants to get second place behind me, it's not a bad thing to come second place to Goldbridge. And also, I'm wearing a United Stand t-shirt, so whenever I do, I always put the link in the video description. We sell them through Amazon. Amazon, very credible. They do the t-shirts for us, so you can get them in the link in the video description as well. Always worth looking in the video description, because you've got all the links to all our social media in there as well. But that will do for tonight, I think. Hopefully, you just never know, we might go live again. The Fellaini thing, I hope it's right. Maybe I'm playing it down. Well, there's no maybe about it. I'm playing it down because I want it to be true. I don't believe any part of it, but even if I did, I'll tell you now, you won't know, because I'll play a straight bat and a straight face. Even if deep down I think there's a good chance of it happening, I wouldn't say it, because if I say it, it'll ruin it. So I don't think it's happening, and that's where I stand. And whether a little bit of me thinks it is going to happen, or whether, as I'm saying now, none of me does, you'll never know. But until he holds a shirt up and he's not a Manchester United player anymore, I will not celebrate, and I will not get my hopes up, because I think I just think we're stuck with him forever. As I said this on the show earlier, you know, he could survive a nuclear bomb stood right next to it and still be wearing a United shirt. He's unbelievable how he's been here 4 years. I think he almost deserves a Queen's Medal for that. Give him an OBE or something. That, you know, that is some achievement. To be that bad a footballer and still be at United is unbelievable. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody who's dropped a like on the video. You are all fantastic, and you would certainly make this show what it is, because it is all about what we're talking about comes from you. Back with you tomorrow. Match watch along. 5 o'clock we'll be live with the team news, and then all the way through watching United play. I'm hoping we won't see Fellaini play tomorrow anyway, and we'll see Herrera back with Pogba, Mkhitaryan ahead of him, Rashford, Martial and Lukaku, and a bit of speed, and let's get up. You know, if we could beat them 4 or 5-0 tomorrow and play really well, it gives us a bit of confidence. We've got to get some confidence now. We're all match fit. Let's get some confidence going. So join us for that tomorrow. Really looking forward to it. Thanks everybody tonight. Don't forget to have a look in the video description if you want to play on the Fantasy Football League. The link is in there. United t-shirts if you're interested in that. What I did want to say though is if you do buy a United t-shirt, United Stand t-shirt, of which quite a few of you have, make sure, even if it's just Mark Goldbridge one, because the United Stand one is very, very busy, it's hard to see everything, but send us a DM of you in the t-shirt and we'll tweet it out for you. More than happy to do that. Tagging us in, it's hard because we get so many replies, it's hard to see. But do drop us a direct message of you in the t-shirt and we will tweet it out. That'd be great. Thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you all soon. Oh, I'm still alive.